Checking in on the shutdown, day 29, and Democrats not budging on their beloved Obamacare subsidies, which have skyrocketed health care premiums.
And on the other hand, the Trump administration making more moves to lower costs by breaking up Big Pharma's monopoly pricing.
Families are rationing prescriptions, seniors are skipping doses, and parents are facing heartbreaking choices between paying for medication or putting food on their tables. This is not acceptable in the United States of America.
The FDA announcing ease restrictions on proven biosimilars. In other words, lowering costs for generic medicine alternatives. More competition equals more competitive pricing, which means lower costs for everyday Americans.
FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary joins us now to explain this. Doctor, great to have you here. This is an important topic if we want to onshore, especially for those companies that want to bring it back. I want to ask you about the approvals process. The company has to oftentimes stabilize the formula. They have to go through a period, then they have to get FDA approval. So speeding up the approval process to get that biosimilar into the market.
That's right, David, and good to be with you. And Katie, the biggest area of healthcare spending growth is drug prices. And the biggest area of drug price inflation is a new class of medications called biologics. It's only about 5% of the new medications, but it's 50% of the drug spend in America today. And that's because they are amazing drugs. They're new drugs. We want research and development and new innovation. A lot of these drugs are very expensive, $250,000 over the course of a year. The good news is that there is a generic alternative to these new expensive biologics called biosimilars. But they've been stymied in these regulatory hurdles. Now, for a regular generic drug, we don't ask the company to go out and do another clinical trial for $100 million over the course of 3 or 4 years. We say if it's the same molecule, we're going to approve it. And that's why we have 30,000 generic drugs. But for this biologic biosimilar version, which is the generic version of these expensive new meds, we only have 76 over the last 10 years. We're going to remove the regulatory hurdles, eliminate the requirement for a confirmatory trial, and we're going to allow more interchangeability so that patients and their pharmacists can swap out for the lower cost equivalent to these expensive biologics.
Doctor, you're talking about the lack of real competition here and the stymieing of the American market. Just in 2024, there were 42 FDA approvals of biosimilars, and in Europe, 110 were approved. So this seems to be a major problem. One area, though, that Americans are concerned about is they want their drugs to be manufactured in the United States. Is that part of the plan here to get them back and onshored so that people have more reliability when it comes to drugs they need for their ailments and medications that help them live a better life?
So, Katie, we have two massive priorities with drugs. Number one is onshoring manufacturing to the United States, including the API active ingredients, as a national security issue. And number two is lowering drug prices, not by 1 or 2%, but massively, pennies on the dollar, like we did with an announcement from the Oval Office a few weeks ago, announcing the price of a $243 medication down to $10. And you can now bypass healthcare's middlemen, the PBMs, pharmacy benefit managers, and other middlemen that mark up the price of the drug. And you can buy direct on Trump RX, and that site is now being curated so that you can go look up a medication and buy direct at a price of pennies on the dollar. So we have massive priorities for lowering healthcare costs by a tremendous amount. That is what most favored nation status pricing is. We're delivering on that promise. It is what we're doing by incentivizing manufacturing to move to the United States. Those applications are going to the front of the line at the FDA. This is a national security issue, and you're seeing an exodus of manufacturing now to the United States, and we're allowing people to bypass healthcare's middlemen.
Dr. Makary, following up on Katie's point about bringing this back onto American soil, another question on the APIs that go into these drugs, an issue to make sure that we know the sourcing.
That's right. Look, people have been talking about country of origin labeling. We want to let people know that a medication is made in the United States. I announced a program at the FDA that if you're going to make the drug in the United States, that's a national priority. And so we're going to give you a voucher that enables that medication to get approved in weeks instead of the traditional long period of time at the FDA. Augmentin, a common antibiotic, is one of the recipients of that voucher program that we just announced. We have to ask, why does it take 10 to 12 years for a new drug to come to market? It makes no sense. And if we're going to move your application to the front of the line, and we're also going to do the inspection before you finish construction, so it's ready to go on day one. That's our new pre-check program.
That's a great
Makary,
plan. So
great
looking forward to
news.
coming to fruition. Lots to do. Thank you, Doctor.
Dr. Marty.
Thanks.